show you one thing. So on Twitter, people are, I won't exactly give you the context of this, but you'll see this. So somebody tweeted at me, present this data to your students. Dare you? Most, if not all, global warming is disguised urban heat island effect. Sprung. NCDC heats up historical temperature data with urban heat island effect and adjusting rural records to match urban records. And I'll sort of show you the plots he shows. There's no way. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not a parody account, as far as I can tell. It's I love CO2. Yeah, he's saying he loves CO2. But it's not trolling. That's actually. Oh, he may be trolling, but not intentionally. Yeah, no. Okay, so that's a good point. So this guy is a Twitter troll. And so I deal with a lot of these people. He's a male. 99% sure he's a male. He's probably retired, a retired technical guy. He's probably pretty smart. He probably may be a retired engineer, retired geologist. So he's a smart guy, but someone who doesn't know anything about climate. I mean, by the end of the semester, you will know a lot more about climate than this guy does. And no, rule number one is you don't interact with these people. I mean, you will never convince this person he's wrong. I mean, his belief is absolute. But the interesting thing is, I mean, just sort of look at this. All this I'll ask you guys. I mean, so with somebody, if you sit down at Thanksgiving dinner next to somebody and they start saying, all of the warming is due to urban heat island effect. I mean, what would you guys say to that? Yeah. The data was adjusted to account for that. Yeah. Okay, that's right. So, but right. Okay, so they do adjustments to the data. That's right. But okay, so that's one thing. What else would you say? Yeah. That's right, exactly. So we have a lot more data other than the surface temperature record that the climate's warming. So we have satellite data. Can you pass that just right at the middle? Yeah, so we have satellite data. So the satellites are not affected by urban heat island, and they show it's warming. We've got ice that's melting. We've got ocean heat content. We can measure that. That's going up. Neither of those are affected by urban heat island. Sea levels rising. That's a consequence of warming. So that's not affected by urban heat island. And so so we have all of this data. So again, what's the gold standard for how we know a claim is true? So remember we talked back a scientific method. Yeah. Right. So peer-reviewed, replicated results, and that is true. We have peer-reviewed results. You pass that up to him. We have peer-reviewed results of all of these different data sets, multiply replicated. They all show it's warming. And so the idea that the warming is only because people are adjusting the data is crazy. And in fact, we know you guys read that carbon brief. What's the net effect of all the adjustments? Someone who doesn't have a Schrute buck. Or someone who doesn't, yeah? That's right. All the adjustments, if you do the global average, the adjustments reduce the trend. And the interesting thing is what these people never show is they never show you what the global average of the unadjusted data. Because the global average looks just like the adjusted data. The adjustments are not a big factor. And the thing that's sort of most puzzling is this plot actually shows the exact opposite of the claim he's making. So the top panel, so this is actually from a paper. The top panel shows the unadjusted data up here. And it shows there's a lot of warming. And then if you go down here to the bottom panel, it shows what happens after scientists have adjusted out the urban heat island. You can see there's a much lower trend after they do that. So I mean, so this doesn't even support the idea that there's urban heat island in the surface temperature record. Yeah.
Did they comment that on your Twitter?
What? When?
Yeah.
Just yesterday or a day or two ago.
Isn't it also problematic that the analysis is from 1999?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. So everything is old. There's all sorts of problems with this. It's old, it's out of date, it doesn't make sense. It's, this person is, it's an unintentional parody account, I think. Let's see, what else I was saying. So I guess what I'll finally say is, we know it's warming because we have independent data that have completely different errors. The fact they all agree tells us this. And there are legitimate uncertainties, we'll talk about some of them later, in climate science. But this is not one of them. If I were a skeptic, this is not the hill I would want to die on. I mean, this is not the point. If you want to try to poke holes in climate science, this is not it. Yeah, your question? Well, I don't think they're claiming that the concrete's causing the CO2. They're arguing that the temperature record is contaminated by the concrete. So it's not, I think if you asked him, he'd probably say CO2, there's no greenhouse effect. CO2 doesn't do anything to the climate. So anyway, you will run into people like this. Their confidence in their knowledge and their unshakability is, completely unwarranted. And, you will never convince them. And so, my advice, if you sit next to someone like this at a party, you get up and move, change your seats. I mean, you'll have a miserable time. And what happens is if you argue with people like this, you don't convince them, but what they do is they get mad. Because as you really start pushing on their, this is a core belief they have. And if you start pushing on it, their reaction is to be angry, because the last thing they want to do is give up their core beliefs. So don't. I mean, you can do it if you feel like it, but I wouldn't do it.